hello. I just make a weird sound and all these heads go up from the phone. I remember back in the day when cell phones weren't a thing. People had to talk to each other. It was scary.
Those were the dark times.
But that's okay, because I'm totally addicted to my cell phone. My wife knows that. She just smiles like, yeah. So anyway, hi guys, gals. Welcome to my Q&A. You bring the Q's, I bring the A's. In that order. Because it'd just be weird otherwise. I just randomly said 7, and then the next person raises their hand. How many Dragon Balls are there? Crazy. Or I could just sit here for an hour and just talk really deeply into it and see if we can make the whole building rumble. Voice actors like the sound of their own voice. Would you agree?
Yes.
Like if you get into, like later this afternoon, we have the North American voice actor panel. We all like talking voices. It's like one does a voice and then everyone else is, it's real entertaining at dinner. Or annoying, depending on your point of view. It can also, I guess, get annoying in your home life too, right, dear? Sometimes, if I just randomly say, hi ho, Kermit the Frog, just burst into voice. Yeah, I like telling that story. You should tell it. Well, not just that, but like the falling in love thing.
Oh.
You gotta tell. This is Christina, by the way. It's my wife.
Hello.
Yeah, he likes to break into these voices even when I don't think he should do that at that time. Because at one point I look over at him and I'm like, every day you make me fall even more in love with you. And do what you did.
Did I do that?
No.
Inappropriate.
Or he'll tell me he thinks I'm beautiful as Kermit the Frog and he does the flail and everything.
Kermit the Flail's awesome. Kermit the Flail. Kermit the Frog flail will put a smile on anyone's face. I mean, just the gif, no sound, just Kermit going.
But other times I love the voice. If I'm in a bad mood or I'm down that day and he starts doing the voices, it's a lot of fun.
Those break into voices, it's crazy. Do some walking. God, this room's so quiet. Either I'm totally bombing or you guys are just really subtle with your laughter. Ooh, I see the first victim. I mean the first hand, yes.
So how long have you been doing voice acting for?
I've been doing voices for my whole life, but been paid for it for the past 18 years. So I started in 2000 on this little independent show called Dragon Ball Z. Just disappeared. No one knows what that is anymore. Only old people know what that is. No, just kidding. No, I was already a fan, actually. I was a fan, and starting in 1995, I was a fan because I read about it in a non-existent publication called In America. And it seemed cool because it's the first show, and I had watched different things, anime, before it was even called anime. It was just cartoons. And I would watch things like Speed Racer or Star Blazers or Battle of the Planets, things that were Americanized and dubbed into English, but when you're a little kid, you don't know any better. You're just like, cool. And then you watch those horrible dubs for back then and like, oh, can't make it for 30 seconds. But hey, that was my childhood, man. So I seriously became a huge fan of all those shows, especially Looney Tunes, the American stuff like Bugs Bunny and things like that. And learning about Dragon Ball as a franchise was the first time where I saw characters like Goku starts off as a kid in the original Dragon Ball, and then he's grown up with his family, and at the end of that, and then Z continues to a more action-oriented as opposed to comedy, although comedy's still a part of it. And then, that's what caught on in the pop culture sense. So when it became a thing and the Canadian English dub of Dragon Ball Z started airing in 1995 in the States and of course up here, and Funimation picked up the rights and changed the cast to Texas, so it became the Chris Sabat show for a while because, you know, Chris was voice matching a lot of the stuff that you heard up here from Brian Drummond and Scott McNeil, and then Sean Schimmel was and is the American Goku, and you guys, meanwhile, up here have had like 4 or 5 of them, like Ian James Corlett and Peter Kalamis and Kirby Morrow. Who else? Anybody remember?
Brad Swale.
Brad Swale? Oh, Brad Swale played Gohan, Teen Gohan, the version I play. The high school one, not the cool one that's really popular. The Great Saiyan Man, you know, the Jar Jar Binks of Dragon Ball.
These are people I've never heard of before.
No, it's weird because I hear from a lot of fans that just
maybe.
hate Saiyan Man. It's like, oh, I love Dragon Ball, but that's just stupid. It's like, well, you have no sense of humor, sir. I loved it. Of course, I was the one who got to act it, so of course I loved it. But, you know, tons of fun, and of course, you know, when you're playing a character who's cool too, he's not just dweeby or anything. He's really, and he's good, and he's pure, and he's strong, and then he's not. You know, after the Pooh saga and all that. So, yeah, that still kind of irks me that the character was gearing up for that potential to be like, yes, and then, meanwhile, let's go elsewhere. I'm like, but why? Why are we doing this? I get it, Goku's the main character, but, you know, come on. Let's make Gohan great again.
Yes.
Let's just do that. Can we do that? Is it a little too much to ask? No, I think it's reasonable. So yeah, I mean, obviously some people like Saiyan Man, and because I see cosplayers at almost every convention I go to, there's always some Saiyan Man love. They even had a Dragon Ball themed convention in Dallas a few months ago, and I was there, and there were good, a lot of Saiyan Man love there, a lot of cosplay for that, which was great. Yeah.
How is it different working with video games and anime? What's the big difference?
Biggest difference between working anime and video games is, well, with video games, there's no finished animation. You know, all the graphics for the game and stuff is being produced usually at the time. When it's a Japanese game, all we'll have to use as reference is the audio. The Japanese actors have already recorded that, and we, instead of matching lip sync like we do with anime, we have to match the timing. You know, it's like if it takes 3.7 seconds to say this in Japanese, then we have 3.7, not 3.5, not 3.7. And, you know, with Pro Tools, the editing software that we use, you're able to get it right to that frame, that millisecond and all that stuff. And there's tricks, of course, you know, if the performance is solid, but it's slightly off, like slightly too long, slightly too short, Pro Tools can extend it or compress it, you know, they can do that. But only to a degree, because at a certain point it starts sounding robotic and fake. So, you know, if they sit there and play with the take they like, but it's not quite working, then they'll just play it for us, and we'll hear it in the headphones, and it's like, just mimic this. This is what we like it, but we can't use it because it sounds too robotic. So we'll sit there and do that. Anime and video games are similar in that they record one actor at a time. The most fun, of course, is to do a cartoon where the animation's not done yet, and you have the whole cast in the same room. And you do it radio play style. Everyone has their own music stand and script and their own microphone, and you play off each other and watch each other screw up. It's awesome. You see great outtakes, and you see, you know, where a lot of the improv comedy aspect of voice acting comes into play, especially on, you know, shows the actor come up with something. The only open to interpretation thing is a little wiggle room if the line is written too short for anime, and we have to make it faithful to the translation, but also fit the lip sync. Now, for those who watch anime in Japanese, you'll notice that the lip sync is rarely lip synced because they dub their own shows. The animation is done first, and then the actors come in and they kind of ballpark do that. But in that culture, it's not a big thing, whereas in North American English-speaking audiences, it throws us off. If the audio's out of sync, then it takes you out of the story, right? And it's like, that's why there's such a concerted effort, especially now with English dubs, because most of mainstream viewers just don't like reading. I mean, this is not a slam against subtitles or anything, or saying one is better than the other. It's not about that. It's just about, what does the general populace like? They don't like having to read, subtitles unless they just absolutely have to. I prefer watching shows in my own language because, if I'm sitting there eating and watching a show with subtitles, I'll stop eating because I'm trying to read and then I miss the animation and I have to go back and, if you have that where the dialogue's going too fast for you and you have to rewind. So yeah, that can be a challenge sometimes, but I totally get where the purists are coming from in that this is the original, this is what was intended. But I also get the creator's perspective where they're like, we want to tell this story on a wide as possible audience as possible. That's why we're willing to put up with censorship in America with One Piece, the original 4Kids dub. It's not 4Kids that slaughtered it, really. It's the Japanese that said, all right, we have to make changes in order to broadcast to children in North America because there are rules. The government implored, it's like you can't show cigarettes on cartoons. Like, okay, well, we'll reanimate and show lollipops. And yes, it's censorship and it sucks and people don't like that. But if you're the creators, if you're Toei or Viz or any of the studios or Aniplex or whatever, and you say, all right, I'm willing to make compromises to get this show on TV and we make our money back. It is a business after all. So yeah.
Have you ever met the Japanese variant of an animated?
Like the Seiyu, the voice actors and stuff.
Yeah.
I've met some of them. I've not met, I have. I have met Gohan because I met Goku and all that. It's all Masako Nozawa. Really cool to meet a lady now in her late 60s, early 70s, still playing Goku and Gohan and Goten. And they're still just cranking it out. I've met Vegeta and Frieza and Piccolo, and I'm so terrible with names. That's what I'm saying. I met Japanese Frieza. You know what I mean. You met that guy. I met Videl, all that sort of thing. I met Kamina. That was cool. Japanese Ichigo. He told me, even though his English was very bad, he said, "Hey, the Japanese Aizen from Bleach really likes your performance." Like, wow, that's cool. Jeez, because it's like I don't speak Japanese, so I can't say one way or the other. If it's like I can't judge a good performance from a bad one because I don't know what they're saying. You know what I mean? It's like, but they say, "Oh, the emotion's so much better in Japanese." It's like, okay, I could hear emotion in the performance, but I don't speak it, so that makes sense, right? I mean, that's not saying one's better than the other. It's just a matter of comfort, I guess. Preference, all that stuff.
What was the most difficult character to voice?
Difficult character to voice. It's not really down to one character. It's down to the type of project I'm working on. If a character in a game or a show requires a lot of screaming, say Ryu in Street Fighter, your voice will give out after a certain point. In video games, you're recording all the dialogue, all the cutscene stuff first, or the in-game chatter, the stuff that's normal conversation. And Ryu's very zen, he's very calm and all that, until he's not. And then you save all the screamy stuff, the shouty stuff, the attacks, the efforts, the death, all of that stuff. You save that for the end because it thrashes your voice. And you can only last so long, we're human, you break down after a certain point, so you try to nurse your voice during the session with Chinese cough syrup or herbal tea with honey, hot tea, throat drops, lozenges, whatever gets you through. Chinese cough syrup, for me and a lot of other voice actors, really does the trick. A couple of spoonfuls of that before you start screaming, and then a couple after. and you're finding that your voice is not quite as shred, and you're still good to go perform something else the next day or later that day or whatever. It's really good when we can ask on a Friday, because will you schedule me for my screamy stuff on Friday? That way I have the weekend to heal, so to speak, and come back on Monday. And then I get hired for a lot of smaller parts on games or shows where it's like I do nothing but like, incoming, what? Yeah, you know, all that stuff. It's nothing but shouty stuff. The first Titanfall game, I'm one of the background soldiers, and I had like 8 hours of screaming. And you barely hear me in the game. Clear, that's nice. But you know, seriously, it's like I suffered a lot. It's like it's a certain kind. It's not panic screaming. It's you're a soldier and you're trained to do this, but it's very important that you get this information out there. Titan, you know, launching, you know, that stuff. Like Titan, what? You know, my God, you know, control, right? And we're recording these things, whether it's dialogue or fight sounds, 3 takes at a time. We're doing like take 1, take 2, take 3, and they sit there, you know, and quickly decide which one they want to use. If they don't like any of them, they'll do it like, hey, do it slightly faster, slightly slower, pitch it up, pitch it down, try something a little different. Then we'll do that. But yeah, all the screaming stuff gets very difficult after a while. No one likes doing that. So when you hear Sean Schimmel or Vic Mignogna talk about Broly and how hard it is on his voice, it's like, we've all been there. We have. And Dragon Ball Z is like the training ground. That's the boot camp for doing games nowadays, whether it's first-person shooters or RPGs. You know, it's not just Call of Duty that has a lot of screaming anymore. So yeah, someone's got to do it. Sometimes, yeah.
So to build off of that question, who is your favorite character to voice?
The favorite character to voice, I will never get tired of doing Ox King. He's another one of my Dragon Ball characters. Oh boy, Macho Man Randy Savage. Stepping to Slim Jim. Oh yeah. And that wasn't the first Ox King. I just basically took that. That's one when that one was Chris Sabat and someone else, I think, like Britain and someone else on the Canadian side. So I kind of inherited that character. But yeah, I love just talking like Derpy. I can talk like that all day. It never gets old. Not in my ears. It might drive my wife nuts, right?
Yeah.
If I talk like that all the time. We're having a really serious conversation.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, hey babe, let's do taxes. Oh, yeah, okay. Bad example. Never mind. We have to talk. Yeah. So yeah, it's all fun. I mean, especially the narrator. You know, Doc Harris is the Canadian narrator for Dragon Ball Z, and that's what I used to go around imitating years before I became the narrator as well on Dragon Ball Z. So it's like, that's trippy. You're walking around like, next time on Dragon Ball Z. Then fast forward a few years and suddenly you're the guy doing that. Yeah, pinch me, man. Still these days, it's like when fans come up and it's like, you narrated my childhood. It's like, well, that's a little creepy. Next time, Johnny brushes his teeth. And then he had to pee. It's like, so it makes everything sound so dramatic. Like you go through McDonald's, like, I'd like a Big Mac and Super Saiyan size that, please. Which I haven't done, but if I do, I'll make sure to stream it or videotape it. Posterity. Watch it be my luck that the person taking the order doesn't know anything about anime or Dragon Ball. It's like, why are you doing that voice, man? Or they freak out and suddenly give me lots of free food. I won't say none of that. Of course, I tend to shy away from a lot of gluten now, so it's like, oh, here's a bunch of food I can't eat. Oh, oh well. Yes.
What character did you feel was closest to you?
The closest. Ooh, well, Gohan's helped start my career, so literally, achievement unlocked. I'm working on something that I'm a fan of, and I'm doing something I've wanted to do since I was a kid. I mean, this is literally my dream since I was a kid, to be a DJ on the radio, which I was before I was a voice actor, and to do voices for animation. And, you know, another one that's really close to my heart, I can't narrow it down to one. It all goes back to Gohan, because working on Dragon Ball Z led to other opportunities and other shows. And since then, I've gotten Kamina and Gurren Lagann, and that has made a huge difference on people. That show is now over 10 years old. And it's like, wow, it feels like yesterday I was recording like later, buddy, you know. Oh. Spoilers, he's not around very long, but but if you haven't seen Gurren Lagann, you should. And not just because Kamina's an awesome character, but he's a really good driving force and very inspirational. And he's changed people's lives for the better. It's not just a matter of this is a show and it's entertaining. It really helped people on the brink of depression. Yeah, and he's an awesome character, absolutely, yes. He's strong, he's inspirational, and you know, I think it's funny that when he's talking inspirational, like, he sounds like voice actors sound the same because we only have so many voices. The thing is, all those characters are different, and you know, we've trained, we've taken classes, and we have experience and all that. It's about making those, you know, obviously Eva is like wild and untamed, and Kamina is just like this, hey, no problem. We're all gonna die, it's okay. We got this. So it's like, all right, cool, we can take it. Ryu is very zen. Hello. Goes everywhere.
It's like guy theme.
Yeah, I mean, it seriously is. It is the be-all, end-all phrase for everything. And if you think about it, the narrator is God in that because he decides when the fights start and end. They start and end way too much. Because Dragon Ball Z Kai trimmed the fat, and it's like, let's make the fight succinct and all that, and then all the fans are like, no, but I like the filler. It's like, but you complain that the fights last too long. Like, oh, but I like the fights lasting too long. I can't win. But obviously, the worldwide fan base for things like that are still strong, and that's the staying power, and that's helped anime. Even if you thumb your nose up at Dragon Ball and say, it shows like Sailor Moon and Inuyasha and all the different things through the decades, literally, that have made an impact on people. That's why we have Death Note or Attack on Titan or High School. All these different or they just think, oh, it's just Pokemon. No, it's not just for kids, and it's not just all for adults. There's stuff for everybody in between too. So that's a great thing. The storytelling, the artistry, I think the talent that's on display from all ends, from all aspects of production, are truly fantastic. And especially okay, I would love to work with like Rob Paulson or Kevin Conroy. These are like, you know, cartoon voice actors. Haven't really done anime, but you know, just like, wow. I mean, to me, there's Heath Ledger Joker, and that's like the live action one, but the animated ones, well, yeah, that's Kevin Conroy's Batman, yeah. That's just my opinion. You don't have to take it as the gospel or anything. I mean, I think there's stuff to admire that a lot of people have brought to those roles and everything. But that would be a lot of pressure. Imagine like you had to replace someone like that. That means your voice would be compared to that. Roger Craig Smith and Troy Baker, they've both been Batman, but they're kind of having to channel Kevin Conroy's. And it's like, that's cool that you got to be Batman, but, you know, a lot of people are going to say, well, it's not as good, or it's like, it's still different. You know? But that's the thing. Warner Brothers takes chances all the time with their animated characters. That's why you see 50,000 different interpretations of Batman. It's a different actor on every direct-to-video movie and series and all that stuff. There's a lot of people I would love to work with. Golly, Maurice LaMarche, Billy West. Golly, I've already worked with a ton of super talented folks. It's just that I'm not in the same room as them when we work on games together. or anime, because again, we record one actor at a time. And that's because of the technical constraints, you know? And think about it from a budget perspective. You got to pay someone to be there for X number of hours. That's a waste of money if you're paying, 5 actors and 4 of them have to wait for one guy to match their lip sync, right? So it makes a lot more sense to bring them in one at a time. And that's a nice perk to voice acting, is you have a very focused, concentrated amount of time to do the job. Whereas on camera, those shoots take 12 hours a day or more, and 90% of it is setup, waiting around for the lighting and the wardrobe, and it's depending on your looks and all this stuff. Voice acting is very freeing. I could look like this and be almost 50 years old and play someone in their 20s. I like that. And he's buff and he has hair, and and that's very freeing. And it's not just that, but it is so much fun to help breathe life into characters. Take someone who's created the material, and the writers who help craft it into something conversational, and the animators who bring the drawings to life, and then we help breathe life into the drawings and all that stuff. Everyone's doing their part to tell a story, and at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's like a part of art, and this comes out great. I'll be honest, every actor's a part of something that's not 100% gold. I've been on my fair share of shows that never found their audience, or they just suck. But I still had a blast working on them, because you find something that you love to do for a living, and if you can make a living doing something you love, it doesn't feel like work. But to get to that point in your life, you got to do a lot of work. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get to that point. It started 20 years ago almost, and here I am. I'm 49, and I feel like a new guy, a newbie. I feel like I've just gotten into this industry, and I got a long way to go. But I kind of feel like it's akin to being a drug addict, which I've never been, but it's like I gotta have that fix, I gotta get that next high. I get this great high from, I'm in the booth and I'm recording and I'm having fun, and then suddenly you're fired, air quotes, because they don't need you anymore. You're hired, you're contract labor, you're hired to do the part, and then it's over. So I'm hired, and then 8 episodes in, you're gonna log on, I don't have a job anymore. And then a few episodes later, I show up for a flashback, and then, I'm hired again, and I'm fired again. That's the thing, it's a mindset. It's like, okay, I'm freelance, I'm contract, I have no idea where my next paycheck's gonna come from. It could be a nice, good paying video game, or it could be like an hour or 2 on an anime, which pays a lot less. It just depends. Yeah.
In
Sorry.
in all 3 Dynasty Warriors games you did voiceover, which character you like the most, including Sima Yi?
Sima Yi and Dynasty Warriors. There's a nice thing, and I'm not the first Sima Yi, but I've been on 6, 7, and 8. And
6, 7, and 8. There was Lex Lang before you.
Lex Lang was before me.
4.
Oh, okay. I've taken another Lex Lang job. He's, what's the main Digimon guy? The big T-Rex looking guy. He's the main one with the kid. Greymon, yeah. I think Greymon, War Greymon, Metal Greymon. I take all Digimon Tri. I do all that. So yeah. Sima Yi is so cool because I like his little spidery fingers and his.
That wasn't 6.
Was it? It was?
The clothing.
The clothing, that's in part 6, yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention, it's funny that you were saying said the same thing. He always said that the fact that he likes video games because you play characters was nothing at all like it.
Yes.
So the question I like to ask people is, do you like playing villains or heroes more than that?
Villains or heroes, do I like one over the other? Not necessarily, because I geek out over doing voiceover in general. Villains, let's see, Aizen on Bleach, he's such a cool villain because he's very suave and laid back, and he's kind of creepy, and he's super friendly, but you don't know where his motives are. And it's like, that's pretty cool. But over-the-top characters too, like Ox King, are very cartoonish, and I love playing that too because that was my first love, was just zany cartoon stuff as a kid growing up. So yeah, obviously a hero like Kamina, someone, I guess He's evil, Ryu. Oh my god. That hurt you. Yeah, heroes, villains, even bit parts. They're so much fun to do because a lot of those. Your Demon C, and then and they're just named that for the sake of the script. They're gonna call them something like boy with blue hair. You know? It's like, oh, this is anime. We'll narrow that down fast. Something like that. Yeah.
It's kind of the same kind of question. I think you played some Beast in like Devil May Cry 4.
Yeah.
Do you like playing like Beast Demon Monsters?
Oh, do I like playing Beast and Monsters? No, because that's nothing but it hurts. See, there's a lot of coughing in between takes. I do like being zombies. I've been zombies on Resident Evil 5 and 6. Yeah, he's never said brains though. I wish he did. But no, just like, it's like I stop and I have to pinch myself. It's like, I'm getting paid to do this? Like they're actors on The Walking Dead that do nothing but zombie sounds. And it's not the extras either. The extras are the ones playing the zombies on camera, but they pay a whole different set of actors to just do the voices. They're like, it's like, can you imagine? And they're faceless and they don't get any recognition. Their names aren't even in the credits. It's usually just like extra voice casting by, and they have the name of the company that hired the actors. And once in a while in movies, you'll get some additional voices by Lex Lang. It's like stuff like on Star Wars, you'll see Lex Lang, Yuri Lowenthal. Like, oh, my buddies, cool. But for the most part, that's kind of a thankless job to be the people on movies and TV shows that do additional voices, because those characters aren't named, or maybe the celebrities don't, do that, because every show or game you've played, there's moments in everything you've ever seen that are not the people you see on camera. Trust me, even though he's like, oh, that sounds like, no, like Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story. Every time you hear Tim Allen going, all the efforts of bumping into things and landing and all that stuff, it's not Tim Allen, it's Pat Fraley. Just like all the Woody toys, that's Tom Hanks' brother, who looks and sounds just like him. How'd you like to that? It's like, be a twin to a famous sibling and have them give you all the voice gigs. I like this. This is good. I'm gonna be a voice on a toy. And that was cool too, because the Dragon Ball toys at the time in the early 2000s, you had the ones with the sound chip on them. Like, I still have them too. But I don't want to push the button too much because I don't want the battery to go out. Still in the package. You know the collectors. It's in the package, no! But they're toys, they're meant to be played with. No! I'm gonna put my kids through college with this. Or not, I don't know.
Have you ever played a character that you personally didn't like?
Oh, sure. Do I play characters I don't like? Yeah. I mean, ones that are just horrifically evil to other people? Sure. But, my job as the actor is to play people who aren't me and take direction and give the client or the director or whatever what they're looking for in as efficient a manner as possible. If they can do it and I can get it in one take, preferably. But sometimes, yeah, it's because here's the thing, with the scripts, we don't get them ahead of time. Unless it's a cartoon, then we can read the whole story in context and everything. Other than that, here's the thing. We show up to a session for a game or a show, we have no idea. We have not played or seen the script ahead of time. We haven't seen the episode. We know nothing. We are blank slates. We get there and the director has to spend the first 5 minutes or less saying, okay, in this episode, your character is going to be doing this in the scene, this is going on in the background, this is going on, this is like, okay, all right. Now when I see my script for the first time and cold read, it's like, oh, okay. Then your job is to use your acting skills, again, from training to be an actor and improv and all that stuff to help bring that performance to life and hopefully give the director what they're looking for. Hopefully they're able to communicate what works best for them to their ear. Like, 99% of stuff we try out for, we don't get hired because it's very competitive and there's only so many roles, right? But if you don't get hired, it's not because you suck. It's just because you're not what they're looking for. So this is why you have to have a thick skin and you have to say to yourself, all right, that wasn't meant to be. hopefully I'll get called in on other opportunities and other auditions, and maybe I'll make that. Because trust me, I've had time and time again the directors say, we love what you do, you're obviously very talented, it's just not what we're looking for. But they'll remember me and call me in for something later, or they'll say, you know, hey, we've got a bunch of bit part voices, let's bring Kyle in, because he's got a wide range. He can play young, he can play old, he can play creatures. Let's knock out a bunch of these guys here, we can do that in 2 hours or less. Like, oh, sweet, okay. Then suddenly, I'm working, I'm getting paid for something I didn't even audition for. But that takes years to procure those kind of working relationships. And the way you procure those relationships is networking, which is hard to do when you're a quiet, shy introvert. Believe it or not, I'm quiet and shy and introverted. But becoming a voice actor helped me gain confidence to where I could talk on mic and address public, you know, the big panels and all that stuff with no problem. It's like I look at it, it's a role. It's like, okay, I'll play the role of a confident person. Why not? If you can fake that, you'll fake it till you make it. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. That part is true. Oh my God, it's true.
I don't remember. Do you remember Taco Eisen?
Taco Eisen. Welcome to Taco Eisen. May I take your order? That was a weird meme. Why tacos?
I don't know. I'm new to the Bleach fandom. I just keep getting this vibe that it's that big restaurant at the corner, and it's actually he serves pretty good food, but it's actually a friend for his mob business. So what would you order from Taco Eisen?
Oh my God. Wait, did you say the place called Three Amigos? It's a front for what?
No, just getting this vibe that Taco Eisen is a friend for his mob business.
Oh, okay. Maybe the taco meme came from like Hueco Mundo, which sounds like a place in Mexico. Even though it's not. It's like they use all these European terms or European sounding names or Latino names. It's like, what? I wanted to go to Hueco Mundo and have some Nacho Supreme. Welcome to Taco Eisen. I'll take your order. It's like, can you see Eisen working with a little hat? Taco Shack. It's like, Kyoka Soviets. Bless you. Gesundheit. Okay. Yes. You, sir. Holding your hand and looking at your phone. Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever played some of the games you voiced in? How is it hearing them?
Playing games I voice in are a rush. It is so fun. And yeah, so obviously when I play Street Fighter, I tend to play as Ryu. I tend to play as Kiba in Naruto games. Tend to play as Gohan in Dragon Ball Z games. It's like, but they're not the strongest characters. Like, yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly, right. It's like, I'm a little biased, just a bit. It's like some actors are like, no, I never want to hear myself. I never want to see myself. There's actors that are super successful and they never watched a single thing they've been in. It's like, I like hearing how it came out. I like hearing other people's performances and hearing that thing. It's not about like, oh my God, how awesome am I? It's like, it's not about that. It's just like, I'm really proud that I got to be a part of this, and I want to see how it turned out. And it's really neat once it's out there in the ether, out there for the fans to consume, stream, download, purchase, not bootleg, and support to keep the studios alive, to see the reactions. It's really, really cool. Okay, let's go over here, back of the room.
So, when you play your video games, do you ever try to like mute the sound and you do the voices of your own characters?
I never really do that. I mean, if there's a game that has a Japanese track and an English track, I'll usually play it in English. Just good. And it's weird because I'll also have the subtitles on too, just in case. Because sometimes I'm playing a game and I don't want to disturb the neighbors because I live in an apartment, and we have neighbors that we can hear them playing bongo drums because I know they can hear me voice that when I do my auditions and stuff. I'm like, get down! There's a really angry man next door. I was just voice actor. Oh, how do we know he's not a serial killer? It's just a front. Oh, they found me. I don't know how they found me. Run for it, Marty. Okay, yes.
In Dangan V3, is there a scene that surprised you or emotionally affected you while you voiced Kaito?
I don't remember anything about the story, believe it or not, because I have not played Danganronpa. But I know that it is huge, and people like that character of the luminary of the stars, Kaito Momota. And then Kazuichi Soda in the last Danganronpa. It's like, I had no idea those games were so huge. And same thing with Fire Emblem. I mean, I knew that was a successful franchise decades ago in Japan, and now, because of Awakening, it's having a whole renaissance now, and a whole new batch of fans, which is awesome, because I've had so much fun being Frederick and Valbar, and Valbar, Valadar, Bartray, all that stuff. Let's go to the front row here.
Okay. And so the voice icon. So I forgot brain fart. Okay, it's back. Do you want to see more of Icon than talking about, because we don't see it in the box anymore?
Okay.
Of which thing?
Icon.
Oh, PyCon. Yeah, I would love him to come back. I don't know if they're doing it up here, but in North America, they're showing Fusion Reborn, that movie. That's got PyCon in it, the Dragon Ball Z movie, for like one weekend or something. They're showing Broly and Fusion Reborn and one other one, I forgot. Oh, are they showing up here too?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Go support theatrical releases. I mean, it's really, really cool to see anime studios do that, because the fans come out. There's obviously, a market for that stuff, and it keeps things. And go see the new Dragon Ball Z movie or the Dragon Ball Super movie coming next January. Going to the theater will send a message to Japan that we got to make more of these shows and more of these games and keep this culture alive. Yeah.
Did you audition for Frederick, or did they just give you the part?
Oh, do I audition for parts, or do they just give me? Well, I auditioned for Frederick. The particular question for Fire Emblem was like, did you audition for Frederick? Yes, I did. I tried out for several roles on that. I don't remember who else it was, but I landed Frederick, so I had no idea he was such a popular character. Because we just, we're recording, and actors have no context until the director tells us, like, okay, this guy is sort of like this, and this is the background, this is a RPG, and that sort of thing. So I say, pick a god and pray. I had no idea I was going to get such a huge catchphrase. Like, what? Wow, cool stuff, yeah.
About Danganronpa, did you prefer playing the role of Soda or Kaito?
Soda or Kaito? Probably Kaito, because it's more of my natural voice. Like, Soda's higher to do, and my voice is starts cracking after a while. Oh, Miss Sonia. It's like,
Character-wise, which one did you prefer?
I actually like Soda better. He looks cooler.
Me too.
I like the purple hair and the mechanic thing. It works. It's like, you don't see that every day. I like it, yeah.
Will you be voicing any more JoJo characters anytime soon?
Am I voicing any more JoJo characters? No, not to my knowledge. Stardust Crusaders has been super popular, as is the previous two series. So Kakyoin in Stardust Crusaders. He does not appear in the rest of the series. The new one that has been picked up and will be dubbed, I have nothing to do with that, at least yet. I mean, hopefully they'll call me to do something on there. It'd be awesome. But, because Kakyoin was a main cast member, I'm thinking probably not. They're probably going to diversify the team a little bit, and I totally respect that. That's fine.
With your long career, what's the weirdest voice acting gig you've ever done? If any, really.
Weirdest voice acting gig ever. I think it was a project that it was a bi-coastal production between New York and LA, and the LA side of it had actors go to the director's apartment and record in his closet. And we would watch the video playback with the time code and all that on the little side cam of the video camera. Not even a TV, not a monitor, just a camera. And I'm in the guy's closet. There's clothes behind me, there's boxes in front of me, there's all that stuff, and it's like, that's the great environment to record in, actually. When you can't afford to make your own recording booth, and honestly, who has that kind of money? You can do it with the stuff you have at home. Just hop into the closet or a corner of the room that has padding or blankets or whatever, stuff that absorbs sound. I didn't think that would be like used in a professional setting, but that was a little awkward because, yeah, usually I do the auditions from home, and then when I get hired, I'll go into a real studio and be directed, like for Dragon Ball Super. Even though most of that's done in Texas, technology makes it possible for me to now do it from LA, where I live, not have to fly to Texas anymore. And it just works. They're able to match up the time code, the video, the audio in real time, and I can watch it. There's a little lag and delay when we're talking to each other, like on Skype, you know, and there's a little bit of lag. We still have that, but on the recording side of it, it actually works really well. It's come a long way. So that's why you hear people from LA or New York on Funimation dubs and vice versa. Because a lot of us have network, remember? Have met each other as mutual guests at conventions, and you know, we meet a lot, and a lot of voice actors are also directors and writers, and it's like, hey, I met so-and-so and they're cool. Let's see if they're willing to come to Texas or, you know, record a part when they're in town, or, you know, maybe we can get them to go into a studio and record their part there. That'd be cool. The only thing I haven't done, I've done the Pokemon Origins little series, a little 4-episode thing on Pokemon.com where I was Professor Oak, but I haven't been on the animated series other than that, because that's done in New York, which Erica has been a part of. But I would have to physically go to New York for that, as far as I know, but haven't done it yet. And it hasn't just been in the cards, like when I'm in the area, to just drop by, like, hi, can I do a Pokemon? That'd be nice, though. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Did you enjoy voice acting for League of Legends, and are you doing anything in the future?
League of Legends. So I got to play Ezreal, Jarvan, and Graves. And Ezreal, Jarvan, and Graves, I think, were in the very first release. So I got to record those characters, I think, before the game even came out. At least Ezreal. So I had no idea. Like, oh, a free-to-play online RPG? Who's going to play that? This is why I'm not in marketing. So it went on to overtake Warcraft. Like, whoa, that's cool. Now, I played it, and I'm terrible at it, so I kind of deleted it. It's like, plus I had to wait years to get an official Mac release, because I'm not a Windows person, no offense. Getting the official Mac client. It's like, okay, it works, and I suck at this. Never mind. But obviously, a lot of people are super passionate about that. So if I say, you know, who needs a map? You belong in a museum. It's like, oh, that voice is the bane of my existence. It's like, you're welcome. I'm like, Demacia, for the king. Okay, awesome. I love that. Just being a part of anything big is like really cool to say, like, I had no idea that would be popular, and now it's still huge. Will I get to try out for other things in the future? I've already tried out, but I can't be too greedy. I got to be 3 characters, so if they never hire me again, I'll feel like that's totally fine. But will I say no? Nope. We're all greedy. We're all starving actors. We're all like, oh, please hire me. Yeah.
What does it take to get a job at Funimation?
To get a job at Funimation? What kind of job?
Like a voice actor.
Oh, voice acting? You'd have to go to their website and see. Usually they want people, and this is true of any studio, they're going to want local talent, especially when you're starting out. They need you to be there. Because think of it, you know, it's a waste of time and money if, you know, you buy a flight and your flight's delayed, then suddenly you're holding up production and they have to get it done. So you can't just say, hey, I'll move there if I get a job. It's like, yeah, well, life happens and a lot of people can't move for whatever reason. They run out of money or delays happen. And again, you know, time is money and productions have to get done at a breakneck pace, especially now with the Funimation simuldubs, the shows that come out in Japanese and English at the same exact time. Those are a production hell. They're great for fans, but it's really rough on the production side for directors, producers, and actors even too, because the footage isn't even done yet. Trying to get that done on a weekly basis. A lot of My Hero Academia and all that stuff is done, you know, and releases, you know, as soon as it comes out in Japanese. So, and it's great that we're able to do that, and you know, things like Space Dandy help pave the way for that.
Yep.
Oh, what a great show too. Ian's awesome in that. But yeah, did I answer your question? I hope so. I ramble. Don't mind me. Okay, yeah.
When recording, do you have any favorite microphones?
Favorite microphones? Well, let's see. Golly. Well, at home I use a Marshall, which is, you know, a sub $200 one. It's not a USB mic, but I have a USB preamp. Microphones need a preamplifier to have sound, unless they're USB mics, where you just plug it right in, your software recognizes it, and you're good to go. That I use an Apogee mic as my USB mic for travel mic. You know, I have to record auditions this weekend, so I'll make a pillow fort in the hotel room and hope no one's throwing a party next door, and I can record and look like an idiot, but you know, that happens. Let's see, in the studio, we got Sennheiser, we've got Shure mics, we've got, golly, there are other brands too. I've even got my agency, my talent agent has mics in one of their recording booths where we do in-person auditions for commercials or whatnot. They have mics from like the 1940s that like old radio plays used to use, and I thought like, oh, that's cool, man, I want one of those. They're huge and they're thick. They look like you could kill someone with it because it's like the way they used to make cars, these giant boats that, you know, if they wreck into something, the other thing is toast. They built like Nokia phones, man. You throw that at a wall, the wall is demolished. Unlike an iPhone where you breathe on it wrong, the glass shatters. Oh, crazy. Yeah.
So my question is about Kamina and Lindo.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever noticed how similar the characters are?
Lindo and Kamina do have some similar characteristics, that's for sure. Yeah.
Not just even the characteristics, but even the world around them is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them have female characters that are gunners, that are interested in them. Their world is they're trying to both take back their world from enemies that have taken control of it.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them disappear for very similar reasons from the series and then return later on for very different reasons.
I think you see similarities in all forms of entertainment because whatever resonates or becomes popular, you know, they want to replicate that. They want to make more sales. That's why you see a lot of copycat anime and manga and shows in the genres that have also like the shonen genre or shoujo or whatever, moe or all that different stuff. You see these different takes on things and similarities, like different character arcs. It's like, oh, Ichigo is like this character and this character, and like Naruto and all that different things. So yeah, I think you see what works, and this has become like a blessing and a curse. A blessing in that now is like the time to be an anime fan because you have instant access, legal access, and many, you know, legit streaming sites, and it's cheap subscription plans. It's cheaper than ever to purchase this stuff and watch it. And but in order to keep up with the demand, the studios have to crank out more product, which means at some point, you know, the quality is going to suffer. You know, and the Japanese, the insiders in the industry over there years ago predicted, they said, you know, we can't keep the quality up if we have to crank out 10 shows just like Full Metal Alchemist, or, you know, here's another 10 Cowboy Bebops. It's like, yes, perfect world, we'd have a billion shows that are all awesome, but they're not all awesome. Some are just kind of like, well, this had a cool plot, but it is meh. Then others that are just completely like, what? Others are like, oh, Japan. Yeah. So, yeah. How are we doing? We got just a few more minutes. Anyone else? Back of the room, yeah.
So what was the experience like working on Gurren Lagann? Because you played such a huge character, but only for 8 episodes about.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your whole opinion on that? How long did it take you?
Well, when we were recording on Gurren Lagann, I think we had to bolt through it at an accelerated pace because as soon as the English dub was greenlit, it got a broadcast deal on Sci-Fi Channel in America, and which meant they wanted it yesterday. You know? So we had to record, you know, in maybe a month or two, whereas it might take 3 or 4 months normally. So we had to double the workload, get as many more episodes done in half the time, get everyone in there and recorded. I'm thankful I wasn't like directing or writing any of that. So Tony Oliver show, making sure that we got the characters right and everything on that. And I knew that that show was so huge a year before when it first came out in Japan and hit fandom in raw Japanese or subtitled and whatnot. And it's like, oh wow, Kamina, oh dude, this guy's the man, even though he's 17. It's like, oh, he's a man. And I read a lot of dub hate. Remember LiveJournal? Remember when that thing was a thing? A lot of y'all are very young, but there's a website that you could journal your thoughts, and there was blogs and all this stuff. They had a Gurren Lagann community, and when the dub first aired, people that watched it only in Japanese were like, oh, Kamina, he doesn't sound manly enough. It's like, but he's 17. He's not a man quite yet, he's getting there. Yeah, so that was fun. But no, seeing something that resonated with so many people, and again, for so many reasons, like I said a while ago, it's impacted lives. That character and that show have meant so much to so many people in different walks of life. It's helped them inspire them. Same with Dragon Ball. Things that help them choose their career in life, help them choose what they're going to do personally, help them, you know, their perspective in whatever situation they're in. Whether it's a terminal illness or if they're a soldier and, you know, just go crazy, you know, that is acting standpoint, but yeah, even more impactful when you see what it does to other people. So yeah, it's that time, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. Yeah, we gotta wrap it. But thank you for coming to the Q&A. We have more Q&A with all of us today. Like in what, an hour and a half?
A little later than that.
Yeah.
In 2 hours. Yeah, in 2 hours. It's just a couple rooms away, I believe. So come back. We have. I didn't get to your question. If you think of more, because I'll be on there, but also the other voice actors from North America will be there as well. So you guys enjoy the rest of your con, and thanks for coming out.